안녕하세요. Nukuli. Hello, my name is Nukuli. Welcome to my channel where we like to see things brand new. I am a 24-year-old half Hmong,
Hello, I like you.
half American.
She's really a beautiful baby. She's got Marla's legs. We don't know whether or not she's got this part yet, but time will tell.
An American who is in her final semester, finishing with a Bachelor of Science in Industrial and Organizational Psychology. My past 2 years really have been an emphasis on behavioral neuroscience and neuroplasticity, its role in cognition, more specifically memory. But for the sake of this video, I want to focus in particular to neuroplasticity and its role in culture and civilization. So the world for a long time used to believe that the very brains which live inside your little noggin needed to be nurtured and treated tenderly. They used to grow all the way until adulthood, when all of a sudden your brain just stopped. It didn't need to be nurtured anymore. It wasn't growing. It didn't need to be treated tenderly or cared for. The way that you were was the way that you were always ever going to be. This was up until the 1970s, when scientists were studying the brain and actually trying to prove that it remained fixed, but they couldn't because it was in fact changing throughout maturation. So what is neuroplasticity? A simple definition would be something along the lines of the brain's ability to change either positively or negatively depending on your environment at any age throughout the entire lifespan. Changing behavior. And as simple as this sounds, it's very important to understand the brain at a neuronal level, as well as how delicate but stubborn our brains can be. Each one of us has 86 billion neurons or nerve cells in our brains. These nerve cells or neurons activate as you receive sensory input or external stimuli through your sensory organs, which include things like your hands for touching, your tongue for tasting, your nose for smelling, your ears for hearing, and your eyes for seeing. They receive external stimuli in your surroundings, better known as your environment, which send messages to the brain and activates these little neurons, then activate with each other. And as you are exposed to certain stimuli repeatedly, these neurons fire repeatedly as well. As they are firing over and over, create this sort of pathway that gets engraved into your brain. Science. For the sake of simplicity, we'll use the analogy of a road to gain a more comprehensive understanding of the way your brain works and how behavior is formed. Let's say, for example, there are two different ways that you can take to work, one of which is faster because the speed limit is faster and there are fewer stop signs. The other is more beautiful because it passes a beach. You can see the beautiful surrounding and it brings you joy to drive there on your way to and from work. So you'll pick a route to take, either the faster one or the more beautiful one. Humans are creatures of habit, so whether you chose this path for an extrinsic reason, like the speed limit being faster, or an intrinsic reason, like you wanting to see the ocean, you'll begin to take this same path that you chose every single day, and probably barely even think about it. This is how your brain works and how behavior is formed. We create our own pathways based on stimuli in our surroundings, either external.
Wow, this is the most beautiful place in the world.
Or internal. And the more we practice this behavior, the easier it becomes to repeat, the deeper the pathway is paved into our brain. Not only that, but it's also more difficult to break this behavior. We can change these paths that we've formed in our brains by actively choosing to behave differently. We do this by replacing whatever bad behavior that we want with a hopefully more positive, beneficial behavior. And then we can strengthen this new behavior by repeating it, actively choosing to participate in it, being mindful when we're engaging in this behavior, forming this behavior to become a habit, and ultimately a lifestyle change. What we can connect between neuroplasticity and culture and civilization is behavior. Behavior is largely a product of what we've learned. There's even a specific type of neuron called a mirror neuron, which activates simply by watching someone do something. This neuron does not care whether the behavior is good or bad. It simply does. It tells you to mirror this behavior, therefore you do. So we learn to behave just by our environment. At a large scale, this is society. We learn by hearing and seeing. At a neuronal level, this would be the stimuli that our sensory organs receive. These things, noise, society, our environment, are teaching us how to be and dictating who we are unless we take the time to change it, to change our own minds. Much of the world today focuses on society's impact on the brain and behavior. Little is fixated on the brain and behavior and its impact on society. And I think the goal as a psychologist, or just as a human being trying to understand the world in a better light, is to notice the way that we navigate through life and the lens through which we see it is impacted by our environment or society, and vice versa. So we also impact society. We are society. And when we put effort into changing the nasty things about ourselves, beautiful things can happen, and that we do have the power to change. Now that we know that our brains are so delicate and invaluable, and we really have the power to change it, to change the world, right? Because you are your neighbor's external surroundings. So if your neighbor sees you doing the good deed, they're gonna want to do the good deed too. Their little mirror neurons, they're gonna go ping, 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 and see you. I challenge you to ask yourself, what are some things that you don't like about yourself? What are some things that you want to change? And if you don't have anything that you want to change, think about what habits you have and what's fueling them. Why are you doing these things? Ask yourself, who do I want to be in 10 years? Am I doing everything that I possibly can be to be that person today? And if you want to change but don't know how to change or don't know what to do to replace that bad behavior, it's always great to be bold and ask. The French have a saying. They say bon courage, which means have courage. And I believe it to be the most pertinent pieces of advice that I've received in my whole 24 years on this earth. Courage to be different, to be bold, to ask for help, to make the changes, to be the change you wish to see in the world. Yes, it's corny. No, I don't care. Comment down below. What do you want to change? What would you change about this video? Do you hate it? Did you like it? I hope you are all doing well. I hope you take the time to ask your soul what it needs. I hope you then take the time to give your soul what it needs. I hope you wake up in the morning and the sun radiates light into your soul. Wishing you nothing but love for yourself and others. Thanks so much for watching.
Thank you.